Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the BUBBY YouTube channel. Whatever. And today we're going to be doing a different kind of video, hitting you up with a different kind of video I've never done before, and that is a tier list. You all probably know what a tier list is by now, but the thing that I'm going to be ranking is all Zelda items, or probably not all of them, but definitely some of them, most of them at least. And they're gonna be Zelda items, that I rank from a bunch of different ranks, 5 ranks. I love doing 5 rank tier lists because I think the less amount of ranks, the better the better the thing is. So my ranks are one of my favorites, bro. Good, it's alright, bad, literal, disgusting trash, bro. Now, yeah, make sure, before we get into this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon before we never so you can never miss a video, or don't, that's fine. Without further ado, let's get on to the tier list. There's not much more to say. And also, I forgot to mention, 100 subscribers would actually be really amazing. I'm shooting for 100 subscribers by February next year, but it would be a true New Year's Christmas miracle if I could get that before New Year's. Probably won't, but, it's still cool. Anyways, let's go to the tier list. And, okay, the first item, the bomb. Damn, okay. Now, I think the bomb actually has some heat behind it because I think the bomb it actually holds the record for the item that's appeared in most Zelda games, and the most Zelda games. But I think it's either the bow or the bomb. I think the bombs appear in the most Zelda games, only second coming to, the bow. So I think it's flown between alright. I was gonna go to the alright tier because, although the bomb might hold some historical value since it has appeared since the first Zelda game, honestly, it's not one of the best Zelda items for me, although it is really useful. There definitely are some better Zelda items that I would definitely rank higher than the bomb, so, yeah. Next, alright, let's move on. Next item being the Bow of Light. I think this is the model from, like, A Link Between Worlds or Wind Waker, but I'm not sure. I really like this item, the Bow of Light. It's basically what destroys Ganon, or the final boss. I think it has appeared in a lot of Zelda games. It was actually around in some form in the first game, being the Silver Arrow. It wasn't actually a bow. It was the Silver Arrow. The Silver Arrow only, like, appeared in the in 2D Zelda games, but the Silver Arrow is basically the Bow of Light before the Bow of Light existed. The Silver Arrow is what killed Ganon in the first game, and yeah, the Bow of Light is very significant in Zelda because of just how much heat it has behind it, because it's basically what destroys the villain. It's basically what counteracts to the Master Sword. It's basically the Master Sword, I guess, but in the bow. If you have the bow and the Master Sword, you're basically an unstoppable dude. So yeah, I really like the Bow of Light, so let's get on with the tier list. And next up we have the Fire Rod. The Fire Rod, it's okay. I won't do it to bad, because honestly, the Fire Rod is not a bad item. It's not at all. But, I never really used the Fire Rod if I ever have it in my inventory in Zelda games. It usually shows up with 2D Zelda games like A Link to the Past, but in that game I never really used the wands except when I really needed them. The Ice and Fire Rod. I don't really like the Fire Rod. It's it's a cool item, don't get me wrong. It's just, it's really not that important to me, at least. So, yeah, that's all I really have to say about the Fire Rod. Don't really have much to say about that item. And next up, we have the Lamp. The Lamp. Honestly, I could go to the memery route and say it's one of my favorites, but to be completely honest with you, I don't really like the Lamp. It's something like one of the first Zelda items you get in each Zelda game. Probably, it's most likely given to you, or you find it before the first dungeon, and it really never holds any significant value. I think the most significance it ever had was in the epilogue or prologue section of A Link to the Past when you're saving Zelda and you have to light up the places in Hyrule Castle. But even then, you really don't have to use it. I don't know if you need to use it in Hyrule Castle and Link to the Past, but you really don't in the rest of the game. The lamp is actually overshadowed by what, the last item we did, which is the fire wand, the fire rod. I don't really like the lamp because it really holds no value, and it gets outshined by an item you don't get too long later, which is the fire rod. And yeah, I don't really like the lamp. It really just takes up space in the inventory. Yeah. So the next item is the Pegasus boots. I love the Pegasus boots. This is easily one of my favorites because just A Link's Awakening is really what made me love the item. I think it's the third item you get in the game with the third dungeon, and honestly, I love it. I would love something like this in real life. I could definitely use it since I'm not the fastest runner at all, and the Pegasus boots is honestly really amazing. I love the Switch version of Link's Awakening, Link's pitter patters on his feet. I really love the item honestly. It's something you always keep in your inventory, on your face buttons, and yeah, I really love the Pegasus boots. It's one of my favorite Zelda items, and it always will be. It always has been, always will be, ever since I played Link's Awakening. Yeah. So let's move on to the Zoro Flippers. Now, I don't really like the Zoro Flippers because I think the Zoro Flippers are very, very dumb. They usually show up in 2D Zelda games, so you don't progress that easily because 2D Zelda games are they're different from 3D Zelda games, and water is obviously a very important thing in 2D Zelda games, so you don't want to progress too far. So Nintendo came up with this mechanic where you need to get an item to swim. And I don't really like that. You don't need flippers to swim in real life, and I think it's kind of stupid that you do in the games. It's charming and all, but don't really have much to say about the Zoro Flippers. They really just give you the ability to swim, and honestly, probably the most disappointing item that you get in a dungeon from Link's Awakening. Yeah. And next up, the Sheikah Slate, the iPhone of the Zelda universe. Definitely one of my favorites. When I first played Breath of the Wild was actually my first Zelda game. I love the iPhone, the Sheikah Slate. My sister always calls it the iPhone. I agree with that. It looks like a freaking iPhone. I think if my sources are correct, then the Sheikah Slate was actually based on the Wii U gamepad, which is actually it's really cool thing. And yeah, I really like the Sheikah Slate. It's basically like 10 items in one in Breath of the Wild. It's basically probably the most important item in that game. Just excuse that. Probably the most important item in that game is basically what helps you get past the Great Plateau, the first thing in the game in Breath of the Wild. You basically can't beat Breath of the Wild without the Sheikah Slate, and for that, I really love the Sheikah Slate. I think it would literally, the world would frickin' fall apart if this thing was in real life, but if it was given to the right hands, like a superhero, the Sheikah Slate could do much good. Okay, now we go on to the shovel. The shovel never really holds much value in Zelda games, but I'm just gonna put it in it's alright because it's definitely more important than the lamp and the Zoro Flippers in Zelda games. Maybe not the Zoro Flippers, because the Zoro Flippers is until 2D Zelda games are basically invaluable. But in my opinion, I like the shovel more than the flippers. I wish there was like shovel mechanics in Breath of the Wild, but I guess that's a hope for Breath of the Wild 2. But anyways, the shovel holds some significance. It's how you find a lot of treasure in Zelda games. It's how you find a piece of heart in a link to the past, excuse me. And yeah, not much to say, like many other items, not much to say about the shovel, since it's literally just a shovel. And moving on to the Master Sword, do I even need to just explain myself on the tier that I choose it? Literal trash, bro. The Master Sword fucking sucks. The Master Sword is just a cliche sword that chooses you the object that actually has feelings in the fictional universe. And yeah, fuck the Master Sword. Moving on to the Mirror Shield. I honestly really like this item. Definitely not one of my favorites, but definitely alright. I'm joking. The Master Sword is going on one of my favorites, definitely. It's what I said before about the cliche sword choosing you. I honestly love that mechanic in the story of the Zelda games. It's honestly one of the most unique things I've seen in a video game, that a sword chooses you. It honestly one of the most inspiring, one of the greatest moments in video game history when you pull it out of its pedestal in any video game, any Zelda game, from when you get the magical sword in Zelda 1, to where you pulled the sword out of its pedestal in Breath of the Wild. Getting the most ultimate sword in any Zelda game is honestly one of the most rewarding things you could do for a player, and that's why I really love it. Anyways, back to the mirror shield. Definitely not one of my favorites, but I definitely do love it more than the bombs and fire around stuff like that because of its sheer importance in Zelda games. I don't think it's really necessary to beat the games, but it definitely makes the game a whole lot easier, and I do respect the mirror shield for that, and the way it usually looks in Zelda games. In A Link Between Worlds, it isn't a mirror shield, it's the Hylian shield. In Ocarina of Time, it's kind of like a red shield. In A Link Between, no, in A Link to the Past and in Link's Awakening, it's just yellow, golden, sparkling, amazing looking shield that you would love to have in real life. And honestly, I love it. I love the mirror shield. Definitely not one of my favorites, but I do love it a lot. And now I don't know what this is. I forget, but I think this is the Fierce Deity mask. Um, that turns you into the Fierce Deity in Majora's Mask. I'm also gonna say this is a good item. Definitely not one of my favorites. But definitely a great item. Basically, if I'm correct, this is the Fierce Deity Mask. Is basically what helps you defeat the final boss on Majora's Mask. It's basically the strongest thing in the Zelda universe, because if you turn into the Great Fierce Deity, it fucking one-two shots bosses and can basically just one-shot any any enemy in the Zelda universe. It's you turn into a literal god when you turn it on, and it's honestly amazing. I love the Fierce Deity mask, but as with the Mirror Shield, definitely not one of my favorites. And well, maybe I should sort these out. This goes here. Yeah, like this. These go like this. This goes like that. This goes like that, and yeah. All right. So the Fierce Deity Sword. This is one of my most favorite Zelda items, just for the way it looks. Um, just for the way it looks, it's one of the most uniquely shaped swords in all of Zelda. Although it doesn't look very cool in hindsight, just how powerful it is and how it goes with the Fierce Deity mask. It's basically all I said with the Fierce Deity mask, but in a sword form. And, I love it. Not much to say, just like the other things. So, yeah, the Fierce Deity sword, I love it, honestly, with all my heart. And Nehru something, I actually don't know what this is. So it looks ugly, so I'm just going to say a little trash, bro. So the Goron Sword. The Goron Sword, people ridicule and just roast the Goron Sword for just being a very cheap way to sell a trading quest in Ocarina of Time. They say it's not worth the trouble you go through to get the Goron Sword, but I think it is. The Goron Sword quest in Ocarina of Time really isn't that bad, in my opinion. It's not as bad as some people made it out to be, and I was very pleasantly surprised that it was that way when I played Ocarina of Time. So I'm just gonna say, honestly, I'm going to put it up here and rank the Fierce Deity Sword down a notch. Put it right there. The Goron Sword, I love the Goron Sword. It's a big sword made from the Gorons with a quest to go along with it, and I honestly think it is worth the time and effort you go through to get the Goron Sword because of, the amount of work that goes into it. I can definitely see why people don't like the Goron Sword. It's stronger than the Master Sword, which makes no sense if you really think about it. It's a two-handed sword. You can't use your shield while using it. And honestly, I definitely do understand why people don't like it, but I honestly love the Big Goron Sword. It's a very unpopular opinion, but I love it. Now, oh my goodness, now here is one that I absolutely love, even more than the Master Sword, the hook shot. Here we go, the hook shot. Ever since I first laid eyes on the hook shot, I used it for the first time in Link's Awakening, my second Zelda game, Link's Awakening. I adored this item. I absolutely loved it. Just the fact that it's just a grappling hook that grapples onto anything, and it could pull you anywhere. It's super cool. I would love it if I had one of these in real life. Honestly, my favorite Zelda item, probably of all time. I want it to be in real life. It would be so convenient. I would love it just being like Spider-Man and stuff like that. Just I would honestly love it in real life, but I honestly understand how it's never gonna happen, since to have a slingshot or a hook shot in this compact of a weapon, the kick of this thing, especially how fast it would need to be to, grab onto something, the kick would be insane, as like even more than a shotgun and stuff. And I honestly don't see the trigger on it, so I don't know how it works, but anyways, I still love the slingshot to death. So yeah. Here we go, the iron boots. Now the iron boots I don't really like. I think it's an arbitrary item that was only made for the water temple, just to make it easier navigating through water. You walk in water like you're actually walking on land. I don't like it that much. It's annoying swapping through the menu, going on and off with the water temple, switching on and off with the boots and stuff. I just don't like it. It's just, yeah, I don't like it. And honestly, that goes the same with the Megaton Hammer, except I like it a little more, more than the bombs, actually. The Megaton Hammer is honestly, I don't really have much to say about it. It's just a big hammer that you use to beat Volvagia, rest in peace. You know what I'm talking about if you read the manga, but, anyways, the Megaton Hammer is just a hammer. I like it more than a bomb. I like it more than whatever the green crystals and literal trash, bro. And yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know what to say about it. So anyways, the Boomerang. Now this is probably the most realistic item we have on this list so far. The most realistic item on the list, because boomerangs exist in real life. You can't get a bomb easily. Well, they do exist in real life, but you can't get a bomb easily in real life. A shovel exists in real life, but this is probably the most realistic Zelda item we've got so far. Since you can literally buy boomerangs everywhere. And honestly, I love the boomerang in Zelda games. That's why I'm putting it above the Big Goron Sword next to the Master Sword. In Zelda games, I really love using the boomerang. It's one of my favorite items. It's one of the reasons why I main Link in Smash Bros. Because of how OP the boomerang could be if you know the timing to shoot it, and if you know the timing to just use it in Smash Bros. And even in Zelda games, it doesn't really do damage to enemies. It stuns them, much like the hookshot. I think the hookshot is actually made to replace the boomerang because it has the same aspects as the boomerang. The boomerang is something you usually get early game, one of the first items you get before the bow, to be your first long-ranged weapon. If you throw it to an item, it brings it back for you. It comes back if you throw it, much like the hookshot. As I said, I think the hookshot is actually meant to replace the boomerang. But even in Zelda games, when I get the hookshot, I don't stop using the boomerang. Excuse me. Especially if I get the magical boomerang, which, the magical boomerang, you throw it farther. It does damage to some enemies. And also, yeah. On to Deku Nuts. I don't like Deku Nuts. Who the fuck uses Deku Nuts in Ocarina of Time? I know they stun enemies, but like another item that stuns enemies. We have like 4 items in that game that stuns enemies, and the Deku Nuts are just something that, as I said, much like the damn lamp, is just something to fill up your inventory with, so the game box could say over 10 items. It's just really dumb. I don't like it at all. Deku Nuts are just a waste of space in Link's inventory, and I think Link should all just throw them away. Now I would like Deku Nuts a bit more if we were like Sheik and we threw a Deku Nut at the ground and we could teleport wherever we want, but unfortunately we cannot do that. Now here we go with the Kokiri Shield. The Kokiri Shield, I like it. I actually like it more than the Mirror Shield just because of what it represents. By what it represents, I mean if you've read the manga, you would know that Link does not buy this shield. He actually goes into the Deku Tree with only wielding his slingshot, and Mido is the one that has the sword, although he doesn't really do anything. But Link actually, after Mido gives him the sword, after they beat Goma in the Great Deku Tree, the Great Deku Tree says, "Oh, Link, as one final gift from me, I want you to carve out a piece of bark to make a shield." And, Link carves the little circle thingy that looks like a G on the shield, and yeah, to signify that he's the G. And I honestly really like the Deku Shield. It's a cute shield made for a cute kid that is Kid Link, and yeah. Anyways, back to a realistic item, things that you can buy everywhere. Actually, you can craft a slingshot pretty easily in real life. I like the slingshot. I like the slingshot less than the bow of light, but more than the fierce deity sword. Just because, honestly, it goes with the kid-ish attitude that Child Link has. And I honestly really like that. Because, Kid Link is a kid. He's like 10, and I really like that he uses, like, funny weapons, like a boomerang and a slingshot as a child. And yeah, one thing I don't understand is why the hell can't fucking adult Link use a slingshot and a boomerang, but, I'll make a random video about that whenever. I think this item is from Twilight Princess, but I don't know. I've never used it before, since I've never played Twilight Princess before, but I guess I'll put it in literal trash, bro. So, yeah. The Kokiri Sword. The Kokiri Sword, I think, is in the same vein as the Kokiri Shield. Not much to say that hasn't already been said about the Deku Shield. So, yeah. I guess we're moving on to the Magic Mirror. The Magic Mirror is a crucial item in a link to the past, but I'm just gonna say I don't really like it since I've never really used it. As I said, I've never really used it, and honestly, it doesn't really hold any importance past a link to the past. Although I could be wrong, I actually don't know what this is. Magic Mirror in a link to the past looks very different from what this is. So comment below if you know what this item is. Since I am not aware if this is the Magic Mirror or not, but I'm just counting this as the Magic Mirror from a link between or a link to the past. Alright, and here is the Ocarina of Time. The Ocarina of Time. I'm just gonna yeah, I'm just gonna put in one of my favorites behind the Sheikah Slate. The Ocarina of Time. It's the name of a Zelda game. That's how important this item is. I guess so is Phantom Hourglass, but that's how important this item is in the game. All you really do is play songs to advance in the game. It's really not that crucial of an item. It's just good to have in the game. So yeah, not much to say about that. Oh, wait, no. Whatever. And now we have the Beetle. Now, contrary to popular belief, the Beetle is actually one of my favorite Zelda items of all time. Definitely not in the same vein as like the Sheikah Slate or something, but definitely I love it more than the Pegasus Boots because of how useful it is in Skyward Sword. Ever since the first dungeon, I loved its cute design, and I only loved it that much more when it got upgraded in the desert place, Skyward Sword, and in the shop when it got upgraded. I really do love this item. I think I love it a bit more than the big Goron Sword, so let's just put it right there. And yeah, the Beatles was easily, all throughout my entire playthrough, in the top 3 of my favorite items in my inventory, so yeah. And the bug catching net. The bug catching net is honestly easily one of my favorites. You catch bugs with the bug catching net. How could I say no to it? It honestly explains itself. It's a bug catching net. Everyone loves it, and you should love it too. If you don't love it, there is something wrong with you. Simple. Now the mole mitts. The mole mitts. Okay, the mole mitts I actually do like a lot. I like it more than the Kokiri weapons, but that's because they're, especially in the Minish Cap, they're cute to use. Link looks super cute in them. They're useful. They're kind of like this shovel in some games, like in the Minish Cap. The moments are basically just the shovel of that game, because there is no shovel in the Minish Cap, so the moments are basically the replacement. And in Skyward Sword, no, there is not a shovel, so I guess it's the same thing. This on the same boat for Skyward Sword, but it's actually important in Skyward Sword because it's needed to traverse an entire large area in that game, and for that I really do like it. And the harp from Skyward Sword. Damn, I don't. It's okay. It's fine. Definitely, I wouldn't. Yeah, it's a good Zelda item, and I'm not gonna put in the good tier. I just think it's okay. It's okay, and you play music on it. It's basically your instrument of Skyward Sword, and I really don't have much else to say about it. And yeah, now the double claw shot. Jesus, the double claw shot. Wait, the double claw shot. Easily my favorite item in all of Zelda. That is because the double claw shot, I mentioned earlier about the hook shot making you feel like Spider-Man. The double claw shot basically is the closest we're ever going to get to freaking Spider-Man controls in a Zelda game. Because the double claw shot is basically the hook shot, but there's two of them. And it's amazing, you can hook onto something, hang on, dangle on that thing, on like this building, and then take out the other hook shot with the other hand, and with the double claw shot, and then just swing around stuff like Spider-Man. It's really cool. As you can see, my favorite Zelda item of all time. I should honestly make, you know what? Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. Wait, just give me a moment. Just give me. Outer row above purple. Outer row above purple. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just leave that purple. Double claw shot tier. Yes. Okay. Here we go. The Hylian Shield. Easily one of my favorites. Wait, let's just maneuver this all the way over here. The Hylian Shield is one of the most important Zelda items because it's basically the shield that Link is known for. Beside the Master Sword, which is the sword that Link is known for. The Hylian Shield and Master Sword is basically a duo. The duo is a gift from the goddess Hylia herself, literally. Fucking the goddess Hylia, the goddess Hylia crafted the Master Sword, and if I'm not mistaken, the fucking Hylian Shield as well. So yeah, I love the Hylian Shield, my favorite shield in freaking all of Zelda. And here we go, the Gust Jar from the Minish Cap. I like this item. I like it more than the Slingshot, and I like it more than the Bow of Light. Right there. The Gust Jar, honestly, another unpopular opinion, one of my favorite items in the game that it's in, the Minish Cap. It's the first item you get in the game. It's the dungeon item of the first dungeon of the game. And it's used in clever ways throughout the entire game. And honestly, it's a Gust Jar. You shoot, winds out of it, and it's honestly really cool. Now we have Rock's Cape. The replacement for Rock's Feather in 2D Zelda games. This is basically in the same boat as Good, although I just like it more, since you could literally fly for a while with that. You basically jump and you glide in the air. That's really cool. In a Zelda game, there could be a lot of fun puzzles with the Rock's Cape. I hope it's one of the items that comes back in Breath of the Wild 2, because it could basically be a replacement paraglider, and that would be amazing. Ball and chain. I've never used the ball and chain, but honestly, it looks really cool. And yeah, it looks really cool. That's all I have to say for the reason that I like it. Wait, yeah, just. And what is this? I don't know what this is. The whip. The whip. I'm just gonna It looks ugly. Looks ugly. Oh, this is the fishing rod. Even more incentive to put into literal disgusting, bro. Now, we get into the really great items, the bow. I love bows not only in Zelda games, but in real life. Honestly, but in real life, I want to be a great archer. I used to take archery classes, but I don't know why I stopped. I want to do it again. I want to be like Link, you know. I want to be like him when I grow up. But anyways, I really do like the bow in Zelda games. It's one of the most useful Zelda items of all time. It has appeared in most Zelda games, whether it be 2D or 3D. It's basically it's another thing that Link is known for, him being an amazing archer, and it's honestly just really great. I love the bow very much. Um, it's one of the factors that, you know, made me want to become an archer in real life. And yeah, the bow is obviously the better option when it comes to bows versus guns. Bows are way better. Anyways, here we go. The spinner. Cat me on this or at me on this, I don't care. Bully me, but I really don't like the spinner. As I said, I've never played Twilight Princess before, but I really don't like the spinner. Although it is one of the most unique Zelda items, I don't like it. It's just a Beyblade. Yeah, as I said, I just don't like it. I don't. I don't know what the leaf is. Leaves are stupid. Nature is dumb. So literal trash. The jar. The jar, now and again, just all the time, has honestly just helped Link in all of his adventures. One of my favorites. The jar, you put anything in it. You can put fucking fairies, bugs, potions, piss, shit samples, literally anything. Zelda's hair, anything in a jar. You could literally put anything in a jar, and it's honestly amazing. Enough said. The elemental arrows. They're good items. They are useful. They go with the bow, to combat normal arrows. They're cool. I like them, but, you know, they're cool. That's all I'd say. They're cool, and they're good. The lasso, I guess, from Wind Waker. I've never played Wind Waker. Although I have seen footage of Link using this, and it's pretty cool, I gotta say. But I'm just gonna say it's alright. And now we get to the final item, the Wind Waker. I have never played Wind Waker, although I have seen footage of the Wind Waker, and honestly, Toon Link is one of, if not my favorite iteration of Link of all time, so I'm just gonna put it one of my favorites. Just because, you know, there is significance behind the Wind Waker. You know, there's like the Ocarina of Time, the game that it features in, it's literally named after it. You know, it holds significance, and just because of that, it's amazing. It's an amazing Zelda item. You can't argue with that. If you do, you're trash, bro. Go die. Anyways, yeah, this is my tier list. This is the finished product, and yeah, this is it. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you never, ever miss another upload. And yeah, if you want me to do more stuff like this, like tier lists, then let me know in the comments below, since, you know, I'd be glad to do this. I actually had a really fun time recording this. And, yeah, maybe next time I'll do favorite Zelda games or Zelda characters, a tier list, and yeah, honestly, anything else. It doesn't even have to be about Zelda. Just tell me what kind of tier list or any kind of content you want me to make, and I'll make it. I'll try and whip it up for y'all. And yeah, that's basically all for me for now. And yeah, peace and candy. Holy shit, guys, once again, thank you for making it to the end of the video. I am tired. It took me a long time to edit this. Probably the longest it's ever taken me to edit a video on the channel. So, yeah, let me know if you want me to make more tier list videos. And yeah, I guess bye-bye. See you later. Subscribe. Whatever.